All right, we got a lot to cover today. I almost didn't want to do this today because oh, this is fresh, man. This just happened. I went to a physical therapy appointment because I'm having problems um, apparently relaxing my muscles on the pelvic floor area. So uh, basically, I don't even get it. Yeah, I gotta just jump right in. I spent the afternoon with a finger on my butt for an extended period of time. And, it's not my first rodeo in that I have had proctological exams done on me before. But this was a long road. This was a very long rodeo. This was a, this, this may as well have been like one of those 24-hour rodeos that I, didn't know, the, the steers were tired at the end of this rodeo. This is, it was my first 5 minute rodeo. I mean, whew. And the reason why she did this was because I'm tightening my anal muscles too much, and it's affecting my ability to successfully uh, do number one and number two. So uh, I uh, I learned a few things about myself. I think in this, because I think at the end of the day, whether anyone is whether whether it's someone like me doing stand up or writers, painters, we're all trying to search for our own personal truth. And I got to tell you, I a lot of a lot of universal truths come to me when I have uh, a finger up there for you know uh, for the length of a 5 minute stand up set. I mean, there was just too too long, too long, and I'm talking about both the time and the finger. And she did say at one, she said, "Well, before we do this, I'm going to need you to relax." And I didn't know how to tell her that it's difficult to relax knowing what's about to happen. Kind of, you know. Yeah, I'm sure that last meal before the execution is a real laid back affair. Not that I should be comparing this with an execution. I mean, that's way worse than this. Maybe. Although, I don't know if that process lasts 5 whole minutes. But I got through it, and and she said, "Do you want the next appointment to be in person or by phone?" And I was like, "By phone is fine. That's fine. We'll call on the next one. Don't need to don't need to drive all the way out. It's good. I'll go from there." Um, my big fear is that like this all started because I was having my my urine stream was not uh, strong. It was not zoptic. It was not powerful. And I had a urologist who was worried that it might be something wrong with me, so they did a cystoscopy, and they didn't, that's where they jammed the camera up the urethra. Which, you know what? If I had to choose between camera up the urethra and what happened today, it's a thin winning by a thin margin, but it would probably be what happened today. The camera, that one, oof, not so much. But anyway, they didn't find anything up there when they put the camera up there. So the conclusion that everyone's reaching is that I'm tensing my muscles. Oh, you know what else she said today? We're trying to work on pelvic floor relaxation, pelvic floor strengthening, relaxing the legs, the muscles in the legs. And she said, when I noticed, how did she, think that she actually said, I noticed when you walk, you kind of scurry. I think she actually said scurry. I was I was diagnosed as someone who scurries. And you know what? She said maybe if you slowed down your walk, it would be more relaxing. And I was like, but I need to walk fast. Like when I'm mentally screaming and yelling at all the people who I feel have wronged me, I can't do that on a leisurely stroll. You're taking away the best elements of my life. You know what I mean? Ah, God. Well, this is. I'm really glad. I'm really glad I'm setting this down. Really glad I'm. Really glad I'm putting this out there. Because if it's the one thing the world needs, it's a finger up the butt story that's not to be missed. Oh man, I just. Whew, a lot of emotions going through my body. Um, Here's the other thing too. I'll say, and I want to be very careful when I talk about this, but it was not at no point was this pleasurable, and I don't want to cast any judgment on anyone else who does anything else involving sticking anything up there. If it brings you joy, good for you. You are accepted and loved and welcomed and great. Me personally, that does not do it for me. But here's the weird thing though. Like the farther away I get from it, as the day wore on after it happened, I find I was a bit hornier after that. Not that I want to go through it again, but I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why I felt that way. Maybe it was I felt that way because I had survived this, and I read Michael Crichton book that when Michael Crichton went through a near death experience, he suddenly had this urge he suddenly got horny, and I think he described it as a scientific. There's a scientific reason behind it. You almost die and then you survive, and then suddenly your body wants to survive. I don't know what, but there's some kind of scientific rationale. Your lizard brain is like, oh, better get on repopulating the species. Next time may not be so lucky. Whatever it is, I am walking as I'm describing this. It's probably dangerous to be podcasting about having a finger up my butthole in the middle of the night in the suburbs. It's not what somebody wants to go to sleep to, I'll tell you that right now. See, this is what happens when I say to the universe, I really want to come up with new material. And the universe will go, I got it. Okay. Oh, have we got a plan for you? It's just, you know what happened today? Because while the finger is up there, she's saying, okay, I want you to relax these muscles. I relaxed around a finger today. I didn't know. I didn't know that I would ever experience that. And guess what? Not on the bucket list. Never thought to put it there. Never would put it there again. But I can now add that. Now, now I can say, well, this is a life well lived. Never say I didn't go out there and dare to dream. Oh man. Well, there's an adventure for you. And here's my conundrum. Here's what I'm beginning to learn about podcasting. Past few podcasts, I've been trying to come up with a science fiction story, just improvise a science fiction story at the end. And every time I do it, I go away going, well, all right, this is kind of silly, but it's just not real life. Somehow, not somehow, real life is more interesting in the moment. And I'm not surprised by this. Everyone keeps telling me, write what you know, write what you know. And now I know what it's like to have a finger up the butthole for 5 minutes. Now I can write the definitive novel. Of course, maybe maybe I can tell this story through the lens of science fiction, but I'm not even sure how, feel like an episode of Star Trek where I would just be a throwaway line in a Star Trek episode. Back in the 21st century, when they were doing this stuff, they actually had to put a finger up the butthole. Are you kidding me? It's primitives. We don't have to do that now. We just point something at it, it buzzes, and then you're fine. Not, not like that. Not like that 21st century medicine. But yeah, it would be it would be nice. This is this is what I love about Star Trek. Maybe this is why Star Trek beats Star Wars for me, because Star Trek you, you get to live in this ideal future where you wouldn't have to do this. You go in and Bones just presses a button and you're fine, because we've advanced enough as a society. That's the kind of science fiction I like. I like the science fiction that takes place in the future where technology is so advanced you no longer have to, for medicinal reasons, stick a finger up the butthole. That's kind of world building I wanted to see. It's never, I never specifically say that they have the technology in Star Trek, but I feel like it's implied. It's not like they have to say space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Hey, we don't have to do any more. Now, this finally frees us up to explore strange new worlds. Though one could argue that the physical therapist explored a strange new world today with me. But that said, now as I'm talking about how I'm whining about, not making up a science fiction story, now there's a part that's like, well, yeah, stop whining and just do it. We need to let's make something up. Let's not run away from a challenge. The whole point of science fiction is I should still be writing about what I know. And maybe that's what this story is about. This takes place in the future, but it's not the Star Trek future, unfortunately. It's the Mad Max future. And in the Mad Max future, when you go to the physical therapist with problems with your anal muscles, it's even worse. It's regression. So Mad Max is driving along and he realizes he has been having trouble releasing his bowels. And as it turns out, there are still HMOs in the world of Mad Max. And they're just a little bit more extreme. If you don't pay the deductible, they kill you. Actually, if you do pay the deductible, they kill you. It's pretty extreme. It's actually maybe not too much different than it is now. But anyway, so he's got to go. He's got to go to his HMO, which is a cave in the desert. That's the unfortunate thing, by the way, about the HMO situation in the Australian desert, in the post-apocalyptic Australian desert. Mad Max is on the eastern desert, but for this particular physical therapy, the only person who does it is on the western desert. So he's got to go through all this desert. He's got to fight these zombies, and and all these gangs, and Emerson Joe has got to deal with him. But he finally gets through all that. He gets to the Western Desert, goes in, and he says, I'm here for my physical therapy, I'm here for my anal physical therapy." And the guy says, "Oh, you gotta check into the kiosk." And Mad Max says, "What kiosk?" And he says, "It's that right there." He said, "That's a corpse on fire." He's like, "Yeah, that's the kiosk. You just gotta take the corpse on fire, light the bigger fire, and then the physical therapy department will see that, and then they'll come out." "All right, I'll whatever you need." Oh, and there is a copay. Yeah, I'm aware of the copay. All right. Well, you're gonna have to pay the copay. All right. Well, how much is it? We need the severed human head of a bounty. I got half a severed human head. Well, we'll allow it this one time. Half a severed head is fine. Just now go light the thing on. Go to the kiosk. So Mad Max goes. He lights the kiosk. Physical therapist comes out. Physical therapist is wearing the skull of a man that she murdered in hand-to-hand combat on her head. And she's also wearing a face mask just to prevent infection. And she says, "All right, come on back." She says, why don't you describe your symptoms?" And Mad Max says, "Well, I'm having trouble relaxing when I urinate, so it's kind of coming out in fits and starts." And she's saying, "Well, okay, well, maybe, is your life particularly stressed?" And Mad Max said, my name is Mad Max. That's I didn't make that up. That's the name they gave. I mean, let's see, where do I start? My family was murdered by a motorcycle gang, and then I had to save uh, a small band of survivors from motorcycle gang, and then I had to get these children to from Thunderdome to a safe place, which turned out to be a bombed out city in Australia. They were probably all dead now. Some tremendous guilt about that. And then I had to try to get these three women to safety who were captured by Emirates. I'm never relaxed. There's no relaxation. That I don't remember a time that I was. Relaxation's not on the table. We take that off the table. Relaxation not on the table. And she says, "Okay, well, I want you to, is there any time that you feel good?" And he says, "Well, I think when like right at the moment when I'm crushing the spine of an enemy, that's when I feel like I'm home." She said, "Okay, well, try to imagine that, and I want you to try to relax your pelvic floor. And do you mind? I'm gonna touch you right there. Careful, that's a landmine. Okay, maybe take off the weapons. Take off the weaponry before we do this. That'd be great. All right, all right. Now you feel this spot right here on your. Oh, and she says, did you notice? I think your right side is a little bit weaker than your left side." And Mad Max says, "Well, that was the side that I was shot and stabbed on." And she said, "Oh, okay. Well, you have to work a little extra hard on that side." He said, "Okay, thanks. I'll make a note of it." And she says, "Okay, so I want you to, as you're breathing in, as you're breathing in, I want you to see if you can push this muscle out towards me, like right here where your bottom of your rib cage. See if we can push there." And Mad Max just instinctively punched her across the room, and And she said, that's not exactly what I meant. And Mad Max was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, when I, I'm a finely tuned war machine. And, if you ask me to push, I'm not going to I'm not going to let up. And she said, no, I get it. It's fine. I get it. Listen, so since a lot of your problems seem to revolve around the muscles at or near the anus, I think I need to put my finger up your anus. Do you give me permission to do that? And Mad Max said, well, I mean, I paid the copay already, so it seems like it would be a waste if I didn't say yes. And she says, okay, we're gonna need to take off your leather and put on this gown and just put your knees up. Okay, so I'm about to insert it. Try to relax. Mad Max says, don't tell me that. Don't say that, please. Okay. All right. I'm going in. I'm putting it in. All right. Great. Now, do you feel this right here? And Mad Max says, I feel everything everywhere right now. I feel everything everywhere right now with your finger up there. I feel everything. I I can't distinguish anything. Um, and if you're going to try to have a conversation with me right now, as this is up here, I'm not sure I can respond to you because um, anything that you're saying is being drowned out by the sound of my brain saying, hey, there's a finger where there should not be a finger. So we can try this, but I just don't know how effective we can have a conversation. I don't know how much witty repartee you're going to be expecting, but it's going to be minimal at best. All right, so now she says now I'm going to spin my finger while still inside of you, and Mad Max says, okay, great. Uh, I've always wanted to know what a drill bit felt like, and now I get to experience that. Thank you. And she says, okay, I'm moving to the other side, and now I want you to try to relax these muscles. Can you relax these muscles? And Mad Max says, I've forgotten my own name right now. Can't think, just can't think. Brain's not working. She removes her finger, and she says, okay, I think we had a good start today. I think I've given you some breathing exercises and some stretching exercises. So I think you're in a good place. Do you want to schedule a follow up? And Mad Max said, maybe constipation's fine. Maybe I'm not complaining. I mean, it's I go when there's enough buildup. My body figures it out. Maybe we just need to muddle through on our own moving forward. But I appreciate the effort. I'm gonna. I feel like now, based on this, I need to go find a gang who's tormenting innocent people and really chop them down. Thank you for this because now I'm boy am I motivated to go and vanquish evil. You've you pushed the button. Literally you pushed the button, and now Mad Max is mad. All caps MAD Mad Max. All right, well, great. We put a sci-fi twist on it. Isn't that nice? Yeah, beyond that, I don't have too much. What else can I talk about after having this happen? What else could I possibly talk about? All right, that's 24 minutes of this. Probably way too much. Way too much. But there you go.